Tom discovers the harsh realities faced by those living rough in our countryside.
There must be some pretty tough times. I mean, there must be some pretty bad downsides.
It's not good when you wake up frozen in your sleep now in the morning. Being wet is the worst thing ever.
And it could be even higher. It's a tough lifestyle, and the average life expectancy for a long-term rough sleeper is just 47. Something known only too well by Corky.
Sometimes I would get here and I would be that knackered, I would have to make a wee bed in there.
You get a bit of cover in these woods?
Yeah.
You've just got to avoid the nettles, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, avoid the jaggy nettles.
Corky has been homeless and sleeping rough in the countryside for decades. He's showing me round his old haunts here in Wiltshire. So you've sat here a few times in the past. You've lived in towns and you've lived homeless in the countryside as well. Which is better? What do you prefer?
Well, kept in the countryside is definitely better.
Why?
Because it's green and it's beautiful and it's fresh air and you can see the stars.
There must be some pretty tough times. I mean, there must be some pretty bad downsides.
It's not good when you wake up frozen in your sleep now in the morning. Being wet is the worst thing ever. Getting dried out, that's the most hardest thing.
Sure.
So winter is the worst. I couldn't survive another winter outside, I don't think.
The lifespan of people living rough is pretty short.
Yeah.
It's kind of mid-40s. Do you mind me asking how old?
Apparently it's meant to be 47 and I'm 47.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's why, after so many years sleeping rough, Corky has finally found a place in a hostel and hopes to get housed.
Yeah, my back's messed up, my neck's messed up, and I think, well, I get cramps all the time, and I've done myself in, and I've had enough.
The stories of both Corky and Terence show how getting a roof over your head can really be a matter of life and death. The number of rural homeless is rising, but with budgets falling as more people need help and lives are at stake, what can we do? Well, that's what I'll be finding out later.
Now, earlier we heard how homelessness is growing in our rural areas. Rough sleepers are often hidden from view and difficult to reach. But could a change in approach make a difference? Here's Tom.
Makeshift camps in woodlands, fields and outbuildings, poor transport links and a lack of access to services. It all adds up to the misery facing the homeless in our rural areas.
I couldn't survive another winter outside, I don't think.
And the difficulties encountered by those trying to help. There are more than 6,000 households in England alone registered as being homeless in rural areas. That's why I've come to see one of the very few projects which is tailoring its services to the particular challenges of being homeless in the countryside. This is a working arable farm with a difference. It's also home to the Dairy House, a hostel that provides short-term crisis accommodation for rural rough sleepers in Somerset and helps them towards permanent housing. It is the vision of farmer's wife Suzanne Adicott and the Elim Connect Centre. So this is the Dairy House?
Yes, this is where it all happens. This is our sitting room, communal room, where lunch and tea happen and we do life together.
The hostel can sleep six and provides a home-like environment for the residents. Suzanne and her husband set it up with the local church outreach group to address the need in their area.
There was nowhere that they could go. We didn't have a direct access hostel, and any hostels that they could go to were urban. And we created this as a community, but also a direct access hostel that people could come and live in.
But it was still a real personal commitment for you both to decide, yeah, we'll have this on our doorstep. Some people might not want that.
Yeah, so my background is working with people on the edge of society that find it hard. And my husband was a farmer and always wanted to do something here to help people.
And someone it did help is James Morrison. Hi, James.
Hello.
You look hard at work.
Yeah.
He feels his stay at the Dairy House turned his life around. So tell me your story. What did this place do for you?
Basically got myself in a bit of trouble, lost my flat in Frome, done some sofa surfing for a little bit, and then found that the best place for me to be was in my tent of all places.
And how important is it to have places like this in a rural setting?
This whole project has helped me massively. So there was a bit of a problem with drug addiction, so to be out here, rural location, has really helped. Not only does it take you away from temptations, but if I did have any troubles, I'd go off into the woods and take a nice countryside walk, or I'd come out here and do some gardening. Perfect in my eyes.
The dairy house has council backing and provides services designed to support those in need in the countryside. At the moment, places like this are few and far between. But could this be about to change? The new law is coming into force next year that puts the responsibilities on councils for coming up with solutions in their area. But even with an injection of more than £60 million when this act comes in, will dumping the duty on councils work when years of cuts have left them under-resourced and understaffed? Back with Corky, I'm visiting Doorway, his drop-in centre in Chippenham, Wiltshire.
Lovely, beautiful people.
It's run by Lisa Lewis, so we're stepping outside to see what she makes of the new Homeless Reduction Act. So there is a new act coming along, I think it's the Homelessness Act. How will that help, if it'll help at all?
What they're going to look at is early intervention. So instead of waiting for people to actually hit the streets, it's about getting people into accommodation safely before they're actually out on the streets. But you're then putting all this pressure onto really strapped local authorities to actually be able to process all the applications and the assessments and actually find accommodation for people when there is no accommodation.
So the law is good, but the money isn't there to back up what it's suggesting?
Well, not currently, because it's not just about giving somebody a room or, somewhere to live. They have to have an entire support package. There's not enough provision for drug and alcohol treatment. There's not enough provision for mental health. We're getting to the point where something has got to give. I have gone to too many funerals over the years now, and people will continue to die on the streets.
Corky's life may be unconventional, but he's making the most of it. And long may it continue. The people I've met over the last couple of days have really opened my eyes to what I guess is a hidden truth of rural life. Lots of people are out sleeping rough, but it's a complex problem with no simple solutions. The new law might help, but without the resources to back it up, will it really keep people like Corky safe for another night, let alone another winter?